Hello and welcome to this video. My name's Beckham. This MP4 video has been recorded at full HD resolution. Aspect ratio and format are practical issues that audiovisual enthusiasts have to consider when they're making an audiovisual presentation. But both of these words do seem to cause some confusion at times. In fact, both of them mean very much the same thing. They both refer to a shape, such as an oblong, a square, or an oval. The thing we need to remember about aspect ratio or format is, generally speaking, they're not directly related to size, because we can have a small square format or a huge one, but they're both still square formats. It's not unusual to hear the term landscape format, for example, but two landscape formats can be quite different in shape, even though they are both being referred to as oblong or landscape format. This is a landscape format, and while it's only a little bit longer on its width than its height, it remains a landscape or an oblong format. The next image is also a landscape or oblong format too, even though it's quite a different shape to the previous one. I suppose the difference between the terms format and aspect ratio could be described like this. Format describes the general shape, like an oblong or a landscape. So when we use those terms and say we want a landscape format, the shape we get will be landscape, of course, but it could be a multitude of different widths and heights, but we'd still refer to them as landscape or oblong in format. The term aspect ratio, which is used quite a bit by audiovisual enthusiasts, defines the shape exactly, because we usually refer to the aspect ratio with numbers like 3:2, as we can see here, or 16:9. These numbers refer to the ratio of width to the height of an image on screen. 16 along the long side or the width, and 9 in height. These 16:9 values could be pixels, centimeters, inches, yards, or even miles. So aspect ratio defines the exact shape, but still not the size. So in audiovisual circles you're going to hear the term 3:2 aspect ratio, along with possibly 4:3, as well as the more popular 16:9. 3:2 is generally the aspect ratio of the image shape we get from a digital SLR camera. So 16:9 is often the aspect ratio we make our slideshows, but 3:2 is the aspect ratio we get from our cameras. So when we see these two aspect ratios together, we can begin to appreciate that there could be some issues in making a 3:2 aspect ratio image fit into a 16:9 slideshow, but we do have creative ways to do that. So practically every screen that our audiovisual presentations are going to be viewed on will be 16:9 aspect ratio. So this is quite an important ratio for audiovisual enthusiasts, but we quite often see the 16:9 aspect ratio followed by a pixel value, such as 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels, 1920 in width, 1080 in height. Now this value not only defines the aspect ratio, but the pixel values have now pinned down the exact size. For example, if we divide 1920 by 16, we get 120 pixels. Multiply that by the height, which is 9, and we get 180 pixels. Ultimately, it's the creative choice of the author what aspect ratio is finally used for their show. But if the vast majority of the screens we're going to see our slideshow on are currently running 16:9 aspect ratio, then it doesn't seem to make a great deal of sense to make our slideshow in 3:2 aspect ratio. There are creative ways that we can use 3:2 aspect ratio images in a 16:9 aspect ratio slideshow, and we're going to demonstrate those in another video. But here we're looking at 16:9. It fills our screen and it has a certain presence. This presentation was created as part of an audio-visual set of videos designed to look at improved presentation within our slideshows. If you've enjoyed this video and you're watching on YouTube, you'll find a link to the rest of our videos just below. If you're watching a downloadable version of the video, then you can come to our website at the address at the top left, www.beckhamdigital.com.au, and just look in our Pictures to Exe menus.